Let's consider whether we mention all the typical applications of public key infrastructure. We talked about EFS technology. Authentication using a smart card is much safer than authentication using a keychain device because Kerberos is integrated with public key infrastructure. We talked about the 802.1x standard, for example, the Radius server. We discussed S/MIME, the digital signing of programs, the secure version of Internet Protocol and websites. Network access protection technology that was briefly mentioned in one of the earlier modules can also be based on certificates. It's the safer version. Using this technology, we can quarantine computers that are connected to our company network. A given computer will be isolated until its health is confirmed, meaning, for example, that it has security updates and a virus scanner is installed. In order to clearly identify who's isolated, we need a strong mechanism. The best is a certificate issued to a given computer or the lack of such. We also discussed software restriction policies, which are mechanisms that enable blocking users from running programs. In conclusion, the public key infrastructure has a very extensive implementation, but at the same time, it's a very functional and easy-to-use cryptographic system. In the Windows environment, running this infrastructure is a matter of days rather than a matter of weeks. Let's consider now how we can trust these certificates. In a moment, we'll take a look at a few of them. First, certain information must be recorded in the certificate. Above all, we need to be able to read to whom the certificate was issued. This brings up an interesting problem. If someone shows us a certificate issued to, for example, Marcin, can we believe that he is really Marcin? Not really. We don't know him. Here, the issue is our trust in the organization that issued the certificate. Anyone can use a certificate. There's no photo. We need to trust that if an organization has issued someone a certificate, that this organization verified in some way the identity of the person applying for the certificate. We also need to be able to read the purpose of the certificate. Is it used for file encryption, for network user authentication, or the secure exchange of electronic mail? Certificates may have a very specific use, or they may be certificates that allow the performance of various operations. The certificate must have a validity period. We need to know to and from which states the certificate is valid. It's not mainly about a certificate that was revoked, but the fact that we can't trust someone infinitely. Our trust must be limited in some way. We also need to know who issued the certificate. A statement from Certification Authority X that issued the certificate is not enough. We have to be able to verify such a statement. We need to be able to verify the certification authority that issues certificates. Certificates may be revoked. A revoked certificate provides for immediately breaking the relationship of trust if the certificate fell into the wrong hands or if the certification authority fell into the wrong hands. From now on, if someone took control of the certification authority, we should not further trust certificates issued by it. Therefore, there must also be a way to inform system users that certain certificates were revoked. This is the purpose of the certificate revocation list. We need to be able to check if a specific certificate is on this list. The user certificate must be authenticated by a digital signature of the certification authority who issued it. We do not trust, even in our own company directly, the certification authority who is responsible. We need to have a multi-level relationship of trust. It must start at the root certification authority. If we rely on a hierarchical model of certification authorities, we will incorporate a public key infrastructure as is designed in the Microsoft operating system's environment. An alternative solution is the peer-to-peer network solution. PGP is an example of such a solution. In this solution, there is no hierarchy of trust. There's a person who has some sort of certificate. Because he knows his coworkers, for example, Jill and Sue, he vouches for them, so they also could get a certificate. At this point, 3 people already have a certificate. Jill may also have trusted coworkers for which she vouches and certifies their request to receive a certificate. Now 12 people have certificates and we all trust each other. Such a model is very interesting, especially in theory. In practice, there are certain problems if there are lots of acquaintances. Research suggests that 6 to 7 passes are enough, consisting of the fact that we know someone, who knows someone, and so on. In order to include in our trust all inhabitants on our planet. 7 passes and we find a friend of everyone on the Earth. The network model is great, but on a limited scale. It simply doesn't work on a large scale. We would have to trust everybody, and then we would not trust anybody.